Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a Black Manga Critic. We are here just, just kind of talking a bit about just ideas that I have for the channel, where I wanted to kind of go moving forward, time, stuff like that. Sorry about that. Every once in a while I forget to mute. I guess you can't hear it, but I can hear it because I have my headphones in. So you didn't hear it, but I told you so, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Basically, I wanted to talk about, the channel moving forward, where I wanted to go. Mainly before I sort of get into that, like I just wanted to sort of talk about this event that I'm having tomorrow on this channel. This is like when I started this channel, I didn't have like too many expectations for it. I just kind of felt like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna review manga. That's it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna review manga, put out a review, edit some videos, whatever. Talk, meet some people that I, that are cool, that love manga and anime and stuff like that, comics or whatever. And generally, I've done that. You know what I mean? But I think like it's so different. It's just so different, and I never expected to be able to do to put together this event that I'm having tomorrow on the channel. Like I would have never expected that. Like this is like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like this is like, whoa, this is really different. Yo, Professor told me, what is up? It has been a while. It has been a while. I've seen your stuff. I've seen some of the stuff, really cool things that you're doing with the channel, yo. Super hyped. Super hyped for you. What's up, Trent? What's up, Shugan? What's going on? But like this event is like, yo, this is one of those things that when it happens, it makes you kind of realize you're like in a different way, kind of like that you have worth and that you have a skill sets and that you can move forward and do particular things. But like this all woman panel that I'm having tomorrow on my lesbian experience with loneliness, which is like a really hot manga right now. Like it's like a very critically acclaimed, just like in general, like as a text. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like transcended the sort of manga community, I guess, in a sense. Like there are like texts that just do that. You know what I mean? Like Naruto's kind of done that. I'm trying to think of other manga that have done that, like in a certain way. Some Tezuka stuff, Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? Certain things, maybe One Piece as well. Junji Ito's like stuff work. Stuff like that has like transcended it. You know what I mean? It's like this is the text, y'all. This is like a really not only popular but really important text that speaks to a lot of people. And I get a chance to like not only talk about this with all of these like smart women, smart, super extremely capable, like they're doing their own stuff and it's like amazing. And they're going to tell you a bit about what they do and sort of what lanes they're in and how they sort of branch out of those lanes and stuff like that. But they all love manga. Like that one thing that like brings all of them together, if anything, is their love of manga. You know what I mean? Like they adore it, and they speak about it and they're all like brilliant. So for me, like just be able to be a moderator, because I'm not going to be speaking much. Maybe if they're like, hey, like, maybe you could talk about that, then maybe. But like, yo, this is like, yo, Shigan. I keep saying I'm gonna get on that Yona on Yona, and I just things keep popping up. Like there might be something I have to clean. I want to hang out with my fiance. Like there's just certain things that always like pop up, and like I just can't kind of like get to the stream. And I wanted to finish Your Lie in April yesterday because I felt like I wanted to start a bride story as soon as possible. But also because I had to finish Your Lie in April. I'm not going to talk about Your Lie in April because Trent is currently watching Your Lie in April, and like he's got to see that through. He has to go. He has to watch it all. He has to go through that. And then we talk about it after. You know what I mean? We might have like a Your Lie in April discussion like after the fact with a whole bunch of other people that have read or watched it or both. Like tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time, y'all. This is important. Tomorrow and at 4 p.m. Eastern time. You know what I mean? Like, thank you, Shigami. Thank you. Like, because this is what I do. Like this is important. Yo, Dribble Catching, what is up? This is important, y'all. This is like kind of like the best thing I feel like I've done on this channel. And there's some other stuff that I've done on this channel. You know what I mean? Like there's some other stuff that I've done on the channel that like these conversations that we've had that have been like phenomenal. You know, I've been a part of other conversations on other channels and like just, you know, incredible stuff. But like this is like particularly important to me because like just the amount of like sort of time, the effort that I've put into like, you know, contact people to, you know, get people onto this platform to tell, you know, to speak their truth, to put out their opinion, to put their opinions out there, to get them involved and everything like that. And to like sort of keep them, you know, involved, right, in that sense. But to also like have that sort of lead to this kind of opportunity. Like I get a chance to not only talk about your lesbian experience with loneliness with 8 extremely intelligent women, but one of those women is the English translator of the English translation. You know what I mean, of my lesbian experience with loneliness, Jocelyn Allen. Like that's like you know what I mean? Like I don't even know if there are words to describe the like hype, gratitude. You know what I mean? It's like this is what like Netero must have felt like after he like, you know, his punch, you know, surpassed the speed of sound. You know what I mean? Like just like gratitude for like getting here. You know, this is the type of stuff that like, you know, and I think a big thing about this is like, if you are yourself, like if you are, you know, on things and you're persistent, and you're what's the word I'm looking for? Like a nice person, and courteous, and you know, give a damn about people. You know, things like you can do these things. Like I say this because like I don't have many subscribers. Like I don't have like, you know, 100,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers or even 1,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? But to me, like, you know, that never really mattered. But I think that it does matter if you are trying to sort of maybe like inspire other people to sort of show them that they can do particular things, that they can set up certain things, that so long as they are, you know, I guess genuine about what it is that they're trying to do on their particular platforms, certain things can happen. And, you know, just go out, you know, just think about what it is that you can do. Think about the, you know, the access that you might have, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yo, we were talking about Magnus. Yo, Drew Ketchum, that's facts though. Tyron Magnus stayed doing that, man. You know, you already know he got that from Ric Flair. But it's like, it's dope. It is dope. You know, it's one of those things that like I'm really looking forward to it tomorrow. You know, because I know I'm gonna learn so much and about like, you know, just about the text, about these women, about you know, maybe the lesbian, like just in general, like the lesbian experience, stuff like that. You know, because like I've read, like you read a lot, like you know, I could read as many feminist you know, theoretical texts and gender theoretical texts and queer theoretical texts, you know, until I'm blue in the face. But that's not the same thing as like speaking with women, hearing their truths, hearing their experiences, you know, hearing their professions, you know, and really like internalizing certain things and like listening and learning from those things. That's like that's like a whole different, like it's a different thing. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Baxter Bershall, what's up? Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, this is like a thing. And I'm really trying to make sure that like enough, like people come to this, you know, like if you have the time, if you're there, you know, I'm humbled, yo, thank you. You know, if you can make it at 4 p.m. Eastern time, if you can make it, awesome. You know what I mean? But if you can't, you can always watch the video after the fact, you know what I mean? But I think that like, you know, when people are there, that dialogue is really important, and that like, you know, being there for the live stream allows you to sort of like, you know, interact with people in a particular way, you know, and you're always growing, you know? Yeah, you know, as a review, like Professor Tomi says, like as a reviewer, you grow. And on YouTube, as a manga reviewer, you should listen to the constructive criticism and things you need to improve on. Yeah, Yo, facts. You know what I mean? Yo. I'm looking forward to A Bride Story, y'all. I already got the I showed you. I think you were at that stream when I showed the volume. Let me go grab it real quick. I'll be right back. I don't really need my headphones to be in right now at all, so let me just grab up the volume real quick. Yo, it's a beautiful volume. Look at this thing, y'all. Look at this. Look at this volume, y'all. This is a beautiful volume. You kidding me? Kidding me with this? Look at that. Hardcover. You know what I mean? Hardcover. It's the back. Another beautiful image. Really cool. You know? So I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm looking forward to reading The Bride Story, y'all. That's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope. You know? Yeah. Which is also a plus. You know what I mean? BC will be back at these messages. Yeah, I haven't checked the artwork yet because, like, you know, I generally try to like not look at the volume, especially like if I don't know too much about it. Like if I haven't seen any art from it besides like the title, like I try not to look at it so that when I open it up, I can be like, bam, you know, like I'd be like blown away by certain things. You can get those manga Blu-ray. Yo, I don't know, man. I don't know how people do that. I don't know how people get the manga on Blu-ray. I have no idea. Maybe they record their manga reading, put that on, you know, burn it onto a Blu-ray disc and then sell it. I don't know what they be doing. But with the manga, you know, mainly what I do is like, you know, like every month, what I try to do is generally try to sort of start reading. You know what I mean? Generally, what I try to start doing is like every month I buy like maybe like a few volumes, max like 3. You know what I mean? Max like 3. You know, and then I sort of say, okay, like usually there should be the first volume of like whatever it is that I'm starting that I want to read, and then I just kind of do that. You know, so luckily with Weekly Shonen Jump, like I have the Viz. So I don't have to buy the volumes if I don't want to. I mean, I do, like I try, but right now I'm more focused on buying these like first volumes of like other manga that I have, so that when I kind of go through that volume, like after a bit of time has gone by, you know, I can like throw like, you know, max like $15 for like a volume like over here or over there or whatever, you know, monthly, so I can start certain like other texts, you know. And it's like, it's hard, man. Yo, with manga, it's in some ways it's more difficult than comics. So with comics, like even with comics, right, you still have like, oh, you could read, you know, like what you can do is like say, oh, I'm gonna go and read some DC stuff. I'm gonna go read some Marvel stuff. I'm gonna go and read, you know, what's another big one? With like heroes and stuff, like Vertigo even. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of do that, and like, and there are even like, you know, sort of graphic texts that like are huge in the comic book world. So you can always say, oh, okay, maybe I'll go read Persepolis, or I'll go read Boxers and Saints, or I'll go read I'm looking at my shelf right now. You know, like I can go read Watchmen, or I can go read even like there's this like critical text called Understanding Comics. That's really it's a comic, but it's also like a critical like text. That's a really big one. Like if you ever studied like comics at all, like at like an academic setting, like Understanding Comics is like sort of the text that people always kind of come back to, by Scott McCloud. So people always come back to that. And there's another one on like sort of narrative, like sort of narrative by Will Eisner, who's a like super like well-known comic artist. But basically, when it comes to manga, it's hard. It's a bit harder because like if you're not into manga, it's like, ugh. You know, like right again, even if you're not into comics, you still generally know Marvel, DC. There are other ways that you've kind of jumped into that. But with manga, it's like, man, you know, like because generally people that aren't into like manga at all, like might not even necessarily be into anime like that. you know, and so it's still very difficult for them to find manga that they want to read. So what I just like kind of suggest to people is like, just pick up a first volume. Pick up a first volume of like either a Weekly Shonen Jump title, a Seven Seas title, because like generally like that's kind of like, you know, like Seven Seas is like a publisher, right, like of manga. Because with Weekly Shonen Jump you'll get kind of like, you know, cool things, certain particular types of like shonen like titles, right? With like Weekly Shonen Jump, and those will be published through like Viz, but like with Seven Seas you get a lot of like other stuff. You know, like you get a lot of like really interesting stuff. This is published by Yen Press. Yen Press is also pretty good when it comes to like certain titles. You know, Yen Press or Kodansha is also pretty decent, and Seven Seas. But though like Seven Seas and Yen Press are particularly really good at like publishing things that are like just different, and they tackle like, you know, LGBTQ experience, the LGBTQ experience and stuff like that. And it's just dope. So I would say with manga, just kind of like, you know, go to a shop if there's one around. If there's not, just kind of like, you know, just ask around. You know, if there's someone's like, hey, what should I read? You know, ask around if there's something that like, you know, like for me, like I just finished Your Lie in April. Like if you haven't checked out Your Lie in April, go read or watch Your Lie in April. I would suggest, for me, I read it because like, I don't know, something about reading, it was just really, really funny to me. And there were certain things that the manga kind of captured that I haven't watched the anime yet, so I don't know. But I would say Your Lie in April, something that I could suggest. Yona of the Dawn has English volumes out, I believe, so you can check that out. That's been dope so far. I'm gonna try to do a early live stream tomorrow morning where I do that for a while. Like that's gonna be like a dope stream, probably from like 9 a.m. to like 11 a.m. I would say. Like I'm just gonna be up early, you know, because I just want to get prepared for that the event that I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. But like, yo, Your Lie in April, Yona of the Dawn. If you have, you know, a bride story like Shuganma has suggested to me, I haven't started it, but you can start it. You know, just because I haven't started it doesn't mean someone else can't start it, right? So that's stuff that you can check out. You know, Nana is a phenomenal josei manga. It's so good, y'all. It's so good. You know what I mean? People haven't even seen the greatness that is Nana. Like Nana is like, and it's just one of those manga like it just starts off like boom. You know what I mean? It's like you're in it. You're just in it. When you start reading Nana, you're just in it. You know, and it grabs you from the get-go. And you're just like, man, I gotta read all these volumes. You know, so Nana's another one that I would definitely suggest. There's a mangaka named Yoshihiro Tatsumi. If you need to remember his name, you could just think of Yoshihiro Togashi, but just switch Togashi with Tatsumi. And like he's like a huge like deal in Japan and like just in the manga sort of like world. As someone that sort of started like this it's like a particular sort of like brand of kind of manga or type of manga that covers like just like real life sort of like situations and like looks at a lot of like underneath, like, you know, sort of like things that kind of happen, like, you know, that you wouldn't sort of necessarily think about, you know, just really intense stuff, really great manga, you know, and a lot of it might not even have any speech bubbles or anything like that. Sorry if you hear her meow, that's just my cat. She's being ridiculous. Don't worry about her. Mina's ridiculous. But yo, check it out. Like The Pushman is a phenomenal manga. Goodbye is another one that's also by Yoshihiro Tatsumi that's like fantastic. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. There's one that I want to start reading soon. It's called My Brother's Husband. That basically follows like the relationship of a gay relationship with an American dude and a Japanese dude. And it's like seems really interesting, and it's also like pretty critically acclaimed. So I'm gonna start reading that when I get the chance. But check that out. You know what I mean? There's so many titles. You know. Let me see. Yo, Brago, what's up? You know what I mean? It's like there's so much stuff. Yo, Brago, shouts out to you, man. Shouts out to you. That Hunter x Hunter stream was dope. Like it was dope. Even though I'm still mad about Silver versus Yuppie. I'm still mad about that. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? We move on. We do the rest of the bracket, all that other stuff. You know, that's what we do. You know what I mean? So ain't no thing. Yeah, Barnes and Noble. Like if like in my area in Queens, New York, there's like one bookstore. There's like two bookstores in the entirety of Queens, and they're like super far away from one another. Like, and one of them just like recently opened up. You know what I mean? And they opened up because all of the Barnes and Noble and all of the bookstores had pretty much closed off except for the one. It was in like Astoria, Queens. So like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like one manga shop, a manga slash anime shop in Queens. I'm in Flushing, Queens, and then the other ones are just like mostly in Manhattan and some points in Brooklyn, maybe the Bronx as well. Staten Island, I'm not sure about, but probably, and Long Island as well. Like there's like a bunch of stuff in Long Island, but like Queens is like ghost town when it comes to like bookstores and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's tough, but generally, I got lucky because I got into manga before like that happened. And I found a community, like this community online. Y'all have been like phenomenal. Just to talk to, you know what I mean? Let me see. The joy of manga is there is literally a series for everybody. Yeah, like I mean, I genuinely believe that. Because like there are mangaka that are trying to write their own experiences, and they might have similar experiences to individuals that are looking to read about how someone else either views their how someone else is sort of living a similar experience. You know what I mean? So there's always something, I think, and there's like the rare instance where there isn't, and like that text isn't out there. But generally what happens is like if the manga isn't out there, then you might have a manga that says, okay, I got to put that manga out there. I got to create that manga. Like Toni Morrison said this like best. Like she wrote she started writing like I forgot which text it was, but she wrote this text because like she was like, yo, like this text isn't out there. So because it wasn't out there, she was like, okay, I got to write it into existence. And like that's the thing, right? You know what I mean? It's like for me, it's like, yo, if I'm not seeing content, that's out there, Brago does this, Dustin does this, Roger does this, King does all these content creators do this. Like, right? Like if you don't see content out there for for you, then you put it out there. You know what I mean? You do that yourself. You have the platform. So it's dope. I gotta check out My Brother's Husband. I gotta read that. That's gonna be dope. Yeah, I know. It just got a live action. I saw it. I was like, yo, I was hyped. I was super hyped. I was super hyped. I was super hyped. What call it? Yeah, yo. Okay. So Professor told me you just started Hunter x Hunter. Ooh, you gonna get yo. The greatness that is Hunter x Hunter, y'all. The greatness, y'all. The greatness that is Hunter. You know what I mean? Come on now. Yeah, I mean, I feel like well, let's not talk too much about the Hunter greatness, just because just because Professor told me, I don't want to spoil stuff for people that have not read it. You know what I mean? No, I can't read that out loud. I can't do that. No, I'm good. I ain't doing that. That's like a weird thing. It's like when someone asks you to like read something out loud. It's like, one, why would I do that? And two, no. You know what I mean? Unless it's like something that like I know you, and like it's not something that's like ridiculous or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. But generally, I'm like, I'm good. No, but that's facts though. Hunter x Hunter 2011 is like on point. You know what I mean? Hunter x Hunter 2011 is on point, y'all. Definitely one of the best anime I've ever watched. And I wouldn't say that I watch a lot of anime, but I've definitely read way more manga than I have watched anime. Give me one sec, y'all. I'm just gonna mute. You're not gonna hear me, but I'm pretty much gonna be yelling at my cat, telling me to stop meowing because she's meowing. All right, give me a sec. All right, y'all. We're back. Sorry about that. My cat was being ridiculous. If one of us is in another room, And then she just starts meowing. You know what I mean? She's just like, oh no, one person's out here, but that's not enough. I need both of y'all to be out here because I need both of the humans. I need both of them. Both of them need to be out here. You know, so but it's cool. It's cool. That means she loves me, and that's good. You know what I mean? But oh, and nowhere, and this is not like to say like yeah, I mean Braga's gonna start the stream, and I'm probably gonna be in that. If anything, you know what I mean? Because I'm up. It's 11 p.m. You know, but like whenever Braga, whenever you started, just let me know. But it's dope. This is gonna be a dope thing. And this doesn't mean that like people have to be. I'm not saying that people need to be in the stream. I'm just saying like, yo, if you're in the chat, it's dope. It's just like you don't necessarily have to be there to ask a question. But if you want to ask a question, we might have like a point where like, you know, people in the chat want to ask questions. I might start doing that at some point, maybe in the next few streams. But this might be a dope stream where, you know, if you want to ask a translator a question, if you want to ask Jolene a question, it might be amenable to that. You know? So I'll ask her. But it's gonna be super hype. You know? It is 11 p.m. Oh, tomorrow is tomorrow I'm gonna be streaming from 9 to 11. Tonight, I mean, it's 11 p.m. like at night right now. I was like night. It's nighttime. All right. It is dark out there. I'm not going out there. It's dark. I'm good. I'm in here with my fiance. I'm happy. And my cats. It's warm. We're all good. It's all right. The kitties. If you hear kitties, they're my fiance just, you know, she just come out. She's in the living room, like they're meowing because they're meowing. You know what I mean? It is 4 a.m. in the UK. My goodness, you are up early, dude. Up early. Yeah. I really want to start too because like I need to buy certain volumes. You know what I mean? I need to buy certain volumes, yo. Like I gotta read like Kingdom. I gotta buy some Kingdom volumes. I gotta be able to read them, and I must own every single volume of The Perfect World of Kai, aka Piano no Mori. I have to own every single volume of that. I keep hyping it up. I keep saying, yo, this is the best thing that I've ever read for me, right? This is like personally, like this is the best thing I've ever read. You know, bro, respect to Shugama, respect to Spider Shot MC for like being up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m., you know. You know what I mean? It's okay. You hear my cat meowing, she's just meowing. Don't worry about it. It's a pretty normal thing to happen here. But like, yo, shout out to y'all for being up so early, man. Yo. But I definitely want to like at some point start learning Japanese. One, just because I feel like it's a valuable language to, like, to learn. Just for like moving forward, and maybe you want to take a trip to Japan. You know, you want to be able to like speak the language, meet some people. You know, show like some like respect in that sense. But also you want like but like the actual like kanji and the katakana and the furigana and all that. Like I want to be able to read that stuff and like buy these Japanese volumes and be able to read them. Like for me, like I'm not gonna buy volumes if I can't read them. I'm sorry. Like it's just this is not like for me. Like if I buy a book, I want to be able to read the book. That's just me. I'm not saying like anybody else. I'm not saying I'm not throwing shade on anybody else that like buys text at the you know, like Japanese text, like if they can't read them, like I'm like, yo, I get why people do that. I totally understand that. You know what I mean? I totally understand that. I think it's dope if like that's something you want to do and you love a series so much that you have to own a copy. That's like a ridiculous but awesome level of dedication. But for me, it's like if I have a book that I own, I want to be able to like I gotta read it. I'm sorry. Like I can't just like it can't just like sit on my shelf and be like, oh, I can't read. I'll never be able to like read the thing. Like, no, I gotta read it. But yeah, if anything, you know, let me know. You know, just let me know if y'all can make it. It's dope. Dope things are on the horizon, y'all. We're moving. You know, we're moving. You know, give me a sec. I'm gonna respond to some people. Just like, you know, telling me about some stuff. Just give me like 20 seconds. But yeah, it's gonna be dope. You know, it's gonna be pretty cool. And again, like this is kind of like I guess I want to talk a little bit about the event, just very quickly. So like I have these other 2 episodes that I've done, where generally like the first episode was basically about manga. We talked a bit about comic books too and like stuff like that. And then the second episode was on manga publishing, and like we talked about different sort of things. And Deb Aoki, who is awesome, and is really a really prominent, to me, like a really like prominent figure. And I think I think like anybody that like knows who she is and knows her, like understands that like she's a pretty prominent figure in like manga, so I guess like journalism and talking about manga at a supremely like high level. You know what I mean? So she knows a ton. Now I might be underselling it. You know what I mean? So for me, like when I had like to have her on the on that panel for the second episode was like incredibly dope. It was like, yo, like I was so excited for her. She came in on the tail end of it, but it was like, I was just extremely happy for her to be on the panels, for her to speak about certain things about manga publishing, about the different manga that she's read and that we read and everything like that. It was super cool. It was super cool. It was really fun. And episode 3 is gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like the goal for me is like to have these things monthly. Because if I do it monthly, that gives me the time to say, okay, let me reach out to some people. Let me see who wants to be involved. Let me figure this out. Because these things take time, right? Some people, like, I think like generally all of y'all are like awesome. You understand like this stuff and everything like that. And you get it, because you talk with us YouTubers all the time, and you're doing your own YouTube stuff. Like you're doing your own things. And maybe you're doing other stuff that might be like either YouTube related or related in terms of project planning or whatever. But like it takes time. So for me, it like a month is a good amount of time to say like, okay, like I can focus on setting this thing up, while at the same time, actually like, living my life and like having a healthy relationship and, teaching and doing all these things, you know what I mean? So for me, like monthly makes sense. I try to sort of say, okay, maybe I'll do it bi-weekly, but bi-weekly is like pushing it. And the one thing I think that YouTube has really taught me in a great way is to sort of say, yo, you have to pace yourself with things, and you have to know how much time you have and how much time you're willing to give to particular things, and what is like actually conceivable. You know what I mean? Like what can you actually do? You know what I mean? Like you gotta, so stuff like that. It's like really, really important. So that's gonna be at 4 p.m. Eastern time. 4 p.m. Eastern time. All right. So I think pretty much anybody should be able to make that. 4 p.m. is like a decent time where like I think everybody can make, like most people can make certain like this stream. Even if you're not gonna stay for the whole thing, I think generally you can make it. The stream is gonna be an hour and 15 minutes long, roughly. Might be less than that. I'm gonna make sure it's not too much more than that. It might go over by like a few minutes, maybe like max 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Because like I want to make sure that this is something like that I'm really good with the time this time. And that, when I say, hey, like the stream is going to be this long, like roughly this long, that it is roughly this long. So I'm going to be trying to be better about that. But yo, my favorite superhero, oh man. I got to think about that, yo. I always have different answers. It always changes. It always changes. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, my favorite superhero was Green Arrow. It was. I just liked the sort of style. I like the green was my favorite color. I adored the Green Ranger. So for me, like Green Arrow was like just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go from Tommy to Oliver Queen. You know what I mean? It just made logical sense, right? As a kid, that's kind of what I did. But I love Green Arrow because he was just an archer. He was an archer that like trained really like heavily and like figured out how to make that like awesome. And he was dope. And like then when I got into the comics and I was like, yo. And the first Green Arrow comics that I read was like the Green Lantern Green Arrow like sort of mashup with like I think it was like the late 70s or something like that. But it was like but those were like so dope. It was so dope. You know what I mean? They were so dope. And I still to this day, I still love the comics because he was such a like, he was such a sort of lefty, very progressive, like all that stuff. It was cool. You know, Deadpool is super hacks, man. Deadpool is super hacks. Super hacks. But like as a kid, my favorite was Green Arrow. Now I don't know. I have to really think about that because like I have so many heroes that I really really like. I gotta think about that, y'all. I mean, yeah, because generally, like sometimes I have heroes that I really like, but I also have like generally the people that I tend to like usually be like anti-heroes, like a Rorschach or something like that. Like Rorschach, I love Rorschach to death. Super super dope character. But I'm looking at my shelves right now. I'm trying to figure out like is there a hero on the shelf that I like that I rock with like to the death? I don't know. Right now, I don't think I have a favorite. I might have mentioned it at some point. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. Right now, I don't. Right now, I don't. Rorschach. I guess maybe Rorschach. Yo, Silver Surfer is dope. It might be Silver. It might be Silver Surfer, actually. And I say that because like, if you ever read the Silver Surfer like stuff that comes before the Infinity Gauntlet sort of like stuff in the Marvel comics, like that stuff is super dope. No, I can't because I'm not monetized. So I can't even I couldn't do that even if I wanted to. But even if I did, I mean I don't know if I would monetize. I mean maybe at some point I will. But I think that like for now I'm fine. Like I mean I'm good. Like my life is fine. I work. I make enough money generally. Like to to pay rent and stuff like that for right now. And then like I'm working on becoming grades 1 through 6 teacher. So once that happens, and hopefully that happens like within this next year and a half. Like once that happens, like dope. But yeah, I'm good. But like I think I don't know, man. I think once I am able to monetize, I probably will. Or I might wait for a while until I do. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But once I hit that 1,000 sub mark, then we'll see. And like if I want to monetize, I will. And if I'm like, I don't know, if I want to wait, then maybe, yeah, you know. And I think I will. I will at some point. You know, what was I gonna say? Yo, Static Shock comics were dope. Static Shock comics were super dope. I love those. Superman kind of boring to me. But I will say it's not like there aren't any interesting Superman stories because I think that the death of Superman, like so just kind of like trajectory, that sort of storyline was cool because it just shot into like these like tangents, right? It was like here's Superboy over here, here's a clone of Superman over here, here's Steel over here. You know what I mean? And it was dope. Like I thought that was really cool. So for me, so for me that was dope. And then there was like a robot, like Superman. You know what I mean? So there was like that to me was cool because it allowed sort of all these other characters to kind of come into be their own and have their own stories and stuff like that. And then everything kind of like came back together when like we understood that Clark Kent was actually alive and da 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 da, and he was just in this hibernating state. And, you know what I mean? Like it was cool. It was cool. I thought that was dope. But like there were other stories like that I don't like. Like I feel like what's his name? Grant Morrison, is that his name? Like his Superman story, like to me that's boring. It's kind of boring. And if anything, the animated version is even more boring because it does this like it's like generally philosophy can be really cool. Philosophy can be really dope. And I think there was a lot of like writing in terms of philosophy that is dope. In terms of theory and stuff like that. But that was just like it felt like masturbation. You know what I mean? It felt like he was talking too much. In that. What's it called? Why can't I remember? It's like let me look that up. Grant Morrison. It was like Superman was dying. He had too much. He whatchamacallit? He took in too much sunlight radiation or whatever. You know what I mean? And like he was slowly dying. It's like Superman something. All Star Superman. Yeah, yeah. I was like, I wasn't really feeling All Star Superman. I like it's just too much. It's just a little bit too much. You know what I mean? Like for me. Like it's not to say that there's anything good about it. It's just that like I think when stuff like that gets a little too heavy handed on like the philosophy and like the um uh uh sort of dogmatic thoughts and stuff like that and ideologies and things, when it gets too heavy handed, it's like, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. You know, so that's why you have you have like a sort of niche where people really love Grant Morrison stuff, and then you have people that are just like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I feel about that. Fade Flash is so hard. That's such a hard question, yo. That's tough. That's not the right one. Come on now. I think anyone should be able to choose their own like flashes. I mean, I will say this. I think that like I think Jay Garrick's helmet is dope, but Jay Garrick would never be my favorite Flash because he's just too old. It's like I'm nah. Golden Age Flash. Too old. Too old. You know what I mean? He wasn't doing enough. You know, he wasn't doing enough. Maybe Golden Age Superman was interesting in some ways. But like Flash, nah. Jay Garrick, nah. But I did like that the helmet was dope. The helmet was dope. You know, gotta love me some Black Wally, of course. Young Jay was cool. Young Jay was cool. You know what's really interesting? A lot of people love like the Flashes. So I'm gonna choose a Flash, but I'm also gonna give a shout out to somebody else. So I personally really enjoy I mean Wally's awesome because he's hilarious, he's super dope, super funny, you know, redhead, all that, like dope. Wally's cool. And I believe he's the fastest generally. But Barry can also be considered like it depends on like the version that you're talking about. You know, so there's always a lot of talk. But generally I think people think that Wally West like a particular version of Wally 10 is the fastest. But yeah, I would say Wally is probably my favorite, like because Wally was the first one that I was introduced to. Before Barry Allen, before Bart Allen, before, you know what I mean, all of them, right? But shouts out to Max Mercury though. The mentor of them speedsters, yo. Shouts out to Max Mercury, all right? Because we don't talk about him enough. We don't talk about him enough. But I think Max Mercury is super dope because he's like really studying the Speed Force. He's really figuring out how to use these energies and all that stuff. And I think to me that's awesome. And it's something that, like, you know, a lot of people don't sort of do with their heroes, I guess. Like, it's like the heroes are like, okay, I can use abilities, you know, but he was actually like, okay, I know I can do these things, but like, let me figure out what's going on with this people. Let me really, you know, do this thing. And it's kind of similar to like in the Flash like TV show, like where when they introduced Jay Garrick, and like Barry would go to him to sort of learn about how the Speed Force worked, and it was like he was kind of like the Max Mercury of like of that Florida Flash universe. You know what I mean? He's cool. Shouts out to Max Mercury, yo. You know what I mean? But let me see what's going on. Let me see what else is going on with Let's see. NL versus Static Shock. Who wins? I have no idea. I have to think about that. I feel like NL. I feel like NL wins. Honestly, if I had to really think about it, I go with NL over Static. It sucks, but I gotta go with NL over Static. I mean, like NL is like actually electricity. Static, like, you know, it doesn't like Static doesn't like create electricity. Like it's more like he has control of sort of like the electromagnetic, like, you know, field or whatever, and he's like able to sort of tap into that and like control that sort of static electricity. But like you know, but then if it was like Black Lightning versus NL, that might be another story. You know what I mean? NL is just energy, man. I mean, oh, okay. So you I guess you can say that like Static could control NL because NL is energy. Ah, that's interesting. That's That's interesting. That's dope. No, but and now like but what they're saying is like Enel is like actually electricity. Like he's actually you know what I mean? Like electricity. So Static would be able to like control him. That'd be dope. And I mean, and, like if that's the case, then like I mean, Static's got it, right? But if that's not the case, and Static can't control Enel, then Enel's got it. And Enel's like washing Static. I'm sorry, he's just washing Static. And right, he doesn't even need the electric abilities. He could just like create like one of the super hot spear like things and like impale him. You know. Yo, Dribble Kenshin, facts though. Yo, for real. Like, you know, like that's it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know. You know, it depends on what Static can actually do to Enel. Like if he can control Enel's because Enel is actually electricity. If he turns and if he does a lot, you know, depends. For either. Depends on the situation, it's a wash. Right? If Static can like just absorb him and like use his energy against him, it's a wash. But if Static can't do that, and that's not like a thing, then Enel is like washing Static like that. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. Live action Titans, yo, that's gonna be dope. You know, live action is always kind of, but I think it's gonna be dope. You know? Oh yeah, Black Lightning would just like, for me, Black Lightning. Right? That's why I said like, yo, if it's Black Lightning versus Enel, then it's a whole nother story. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about that. But let me see. I have no idea if Braga's going to stream. I still have to feed my cats. It's like late, and I still haven't fed them. Like that's probably why they're meowing. They're like, oh, I'm so hungry, and I'm like, I gotta feed them, you know, because that's not nice. It's not nice. Yeah, Dribble Kenshin, that's the thing, right? It's like it depends. Like, are they always their element? I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I maybe. But I think the thing is that like right, it's like if Enel is going to use his ability, right? Then you know, if he uses the ability and he turns to electricity, then I think at that point Static might be able to actually like either absorb him or control like him in that state. So he might not even be able to turn him back to to like a solid state or whatever. So it all depends. It all depends. You know, it's interesting. And I feel like they are always an element. Like you know, even like like subconsciously. You know what I mean? But maybe not. You know. Man. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think it's like a lot of it is dependent. You know, what are the actual like sort of stipulations for their abilities at particular points, and what happens. You know, so it's an interesting thought. Like these are the kinds of things that I think make for good like you know one-on-one discussions. Like boom, boom, boom. You know. Yeah, would Hockey stop Static Shock from controlling him? I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure because I don't know. Like I feel like Hockey is like something that definitively affects Devil Fruit abilities, but I don't know if it affects like Static's abilities because it's just a different like universe, you know. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's how I feel about One Piece too. Like a lot of people talk about Hockey in this way. It's like, well, Hockey is just so amazing, and I'm like, Hockey's really kind of basic to me. That's not to say like. You know, I don't think that Hockey should have been included in One Piece. I just feel like Oda kind of like tripped over himself a little bit, or not even tripped over himself, but like what he did was he kind of like boxed himself into like this weird sort of space where now he has to do particular things with Hockey. Otherwise, it's like, why did you introduce Hockey? You know, or why did you introduce all these three things? You know, I think like for me, Armament Hockey is fine. I think that's something that had to be introduced. That's cool. That's fine. Whatever. You know, I think that's fine. And maybe it didn't, but I think it's fine that it did because like you know, like I think it made sense that like, hey, this is why these people can touch them and other people can't, right? But I think like other things kind of like Conqueror's Haki is cool, but I feel like it's just kind of it's a little too abstract. And sometimes that works for things. Like sometimes the like an abstract like ability is cool and you can do things with it, and it leaves room for interpretation and other applications. But like Conqueror's Haki to me is kind of like annoying. It's a little weird. Sometimes it's cool and it was cool, but now it's like whenever people clash with Conqueror's Haki, it's like, well, what's the point of that? Like, what's the point of that clash? That's my issue with that. And observation Haki also was kind of like, I don't know if that's necessary. I don't know if, like, I mean, sometimes it is. Like, I feel like observation Haki would have been cool if it was just like some people have observation Haki and they can see into the future. I think if they just left it, if he just left it at that, I'm like, okay, all right, like that'd be interesting. So that when certain characters are introduced, then we're like, oh, this person is able to utilize observation Haki, or whatever, right? Period. As opposed to people that can use observation Haki can dodge certain things, and it's really cool. But it's like, it's like in the new world, it's like a lot of people have observation Haki, I think, or maybe some people don't. But I think it's weird that like to me that like there are people in the new world who either don't have observation Haki or haven't trained it. To me, that makes no sense. It's like how are you in the new world and you haven't trained observation Haki and armament Haki? It would make the most sense that if you were trying to become the Pirate King, find the One Piece, you probably should train both of those. So if you don't have Conqueror's Haki, then you better be training up your armament and observation. You know what I mean? Like that should be something that you should do. Right? And so I feel like, I feel like some people should just be better, should be suited to different types of Haki, and then that makes it more interesting. But if you're like in the new world and like all these people have Conqueror's Haki, but I'm like, but what's the point of Conqueror's Haki though? Like, it's like, is it going to unlock some door? Is it like a secret key? Because if it ain't, like, and I don't think it is, like if it's not, it's not interesting to me. The reason why I don't review the One Piece manga right now is just because right now I'm not interested in it. And for me, it's really important that I review things that I want to review at the time. If I'm reading a manga and I'm like, I don't want to read this manga right now, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spend my time not only reviewing it, but basically like critiquing it to death. Because with One Piece, I'm just like constantly looking at it, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just constantly like, I don't want to review this thing. I really don't. I really don't. So for me, like I'm just taking a break until this arc is over, and then once this arc is over, and people tell me like, hey, like the arc is over, then I'm gonna go back to reviewing One Piece. But for right now, I just like I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, I'm only reviewing One Piece because I want to make sure that like I'm caught up, and I'm like, no, because I can always just do a read through once this arc is done. I can do a read through, and then that'll be that. And to me that's fine. I understand that other people want to see my reviews and everything and live reactions. I totally understand that. But at the same time, I have to make sure that as a YouTuber, I'm like putting out content that I want to put out. And I think like there was a certain point where I was like, you know what, like the only reason, like there was like maybe two manga that I chapters that I read, and I was like, and part of why I read them was because Dustin was like, yo, you gotta check that out. Other people were like, yo, you gotta check that out. Then you could take a break. And then it made some sense because once I read those chapters, then I was like, you know what, I'm taking a break. So I'm just taking a break until the arc's done. Once the arc is finished, where we know it's finished, or at the very least once it gets up, once it gets to that last chapter, then I'll just do a read through of all of them, and I'll do that. I will say that like I already know about like the fact that like the ship, that like apparently there was something about the ship, maybe it was destroyed, maybe it was not, right? Because I couldn't avoid that if I tried. Honestly, like I'm a YouTuber, so I'm gonna see certain things all the time, in certain ways. But too, like even if I like like there's only so many words that I can like put on my list in terms of like don't show me tweets involving the word One Piece with the word, you know what I mean? So it's hard. But I know about that, but all the other chapters I haven't read. Like I think 897 was where I stopped. I haven't read 898, 899, 900, and 901 is going to come out this upcoming Friday, so I won't have read that. But again, I'm just waiting until it's done. Once the manga's done, once the manga's done, and then I'll check it out. Then I'll be like, all right. Then I'll be like, all right. I'll check it out again. Right? Right now, I'm like, whatever. It's like, all right. What if the arc never ends? If it never ends, I mean, there you go. You know what I mean? And I just don't go back to One Piece. That's just that. But I got you. 906. Yo, let me see. Gantz, I haven't read Gantz. I gotta read Gantz. I would say I haven't read any Gantz. I read like maybe like 6 or 7 chapters of Gantz, and then I just kind of stopped reading it. But this is like I was really young when I started reading Gantz. I was probably like 19 at the time. So that was like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? 11 years ago. Like when I started reading Gantz, I tried to read it. I was just into like other stuff. I wasn't there yet in terms of really being able to like sit down and read certain manga. I was really like a just straight shonen like manga like kind of person, and some other things that I had already read like Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura that I watched. But outside of that, it was mainly just like shonen stuff, shonen. So I wasn't really reading any seinen titles at that point. So I'll try Gantz again. I'll try Gantz again at some point. Probably not anytime soon, but I'll put it on my list in terms of stuff that I want to read. And I just finished Your Lie in April, so I'm going to start reading A Bride's Story, Otoyomegatari. I'm going to start reading that Tuesday. I'm going to start reading that. I'm going to read through maybe like half of this volume or the whole volume. Depends on how long the chapters are. And then I'm gonna finish Solanin because Solanin is awesome. I gotta get back to Oyasumi Punpun as well. Good Night Punpun. Like I gotta get back to that. That's gonna be dope. I want to buy some volumes for that too. I think what I'm gonna do is see where I'm at in terms of chapters. I think I finished. I left off at chapter 10. So I only have like one stream where I did that, and I'm gonna get back to it. But yeah, I feel like Oda just needs to get back to Oda. Like the pacing. I think he realized that the pacing was kind of weird, and like he kind of tried to like speed things up a little bit. But yeah, for now I'm just like, I'm not gonna like consistently read chapters that I'm not really interested in. At all, and put out live reactions and like just like meh live reactions / reviews. Like I want to be like not I don't have to be excited, but I want to be interested and have a desire to read the chapters. You know what I mean? Like right now I don't have a desire to read the chapters. So once the arc is over, then I'll be like, okay, let me finish this arc, see how I really feel about it once it's actually done, and then move on. Is The Promised Neverland better than One Piece to me? Are we talking about as a whole manga, or are we talking about currently? Yeah, 20. Yo, he said I've never seen a manga write 20 chapters that don't progress the story. That's I'm trying to think. Like, have I? I'm trying to think if I've read a manga where that's happened, where like I read 20 chapters and then like nothing, like it seemed like it was at a standstill. I don't know. I gotta think about that. Maybe one of the Weekly Shonen Jump titles. I feel like one of them had to have done that, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think just because manga are just different in that way. Like generally they have to. It's different. With anime, you could do that. You could just be like, you got like Naruto. You could have a whole bunch of stories that don't progress nothing, right? You have like, well, how many filler episodes were there? Like, I think there were like 80 of them or something like that, or like 40 of them or something like that. They were like a bunch, right? But like with the with the manga, it's much harder to do that. You can't just like waste 20 chapters. I mean, I guess like with Oda, like I don't feel like he's totally wasted the 20 chapters, but I do feel like, you know, they could have been a lot better. But yo, To Promised Neverland at 82 chapters versus One Piece of 901. I mean, I'm still going with One Piece, just because like we've gotten so many arcs. You know, like we've gotten so many arcs in One Piece that I thought were fantastic. That right now I can't give it to The Promised Neverland, right? But yeah, I mean, yo, if The Promised Neverland ended at like less than 200 chapters, I'd be happy about that. I'd be cool with that. Like if they were like, you know, they still kids and we didn't see them as grown-ups or whatever, like, and we didn't need, you know, if we don't need to see that, I'd be really happy with that. I'd be fine with that actually. I like small short titles. Like again, Your Lie in April is like 44 chapters. You know what I mean? Dragon Ball is like less than 200 chapters. Like 16 volumes. You know, so for me it doesn't really it doesn't matter if a series is short. I think like if you have a series that, right, like if you have a series that like isn't particularly long, and I think that also the thing to like note is like a series does not have to be like 600 chapters, 500 chapters, even 450 or whatever. It doesn't have to do that. If the story is like, hey, you know, this is the story, this is what we wanted, this is the thing, this is what I wanted to tell, this is the story that we wanted to tell, or I wanted to tell, and that's like 165 chapters. All right. You know, Your Lie in April was like 44 chapters, and it was brilliant. Brilliant. So for me, like, that's kind of how I feel about that. You know, I'm not like, you know, I'm like, You know what I mean? It's like, but again, I still feel like One Piece is all around as a manga. It's still better right now. I thought like, do I think The Promised Neverland will be better than it at some point? Right now, I do. I think that it just does different things, and the pacing is great. It doesn't stall. It doesn't take, you know, it's not like, oh, here's a chapter that we don't need. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, every chapter does something for the story, for expanding like how we view their the surroundings of the children and characters and demons and stuff like that. You know, so I think that generally like it's very well done in terms of the pacing. You know, and I think that like it started off extremely like breakneck pace, and the pacing is still good, but I do feel like, you know, that first arc is like it's super hard to beat that first arc. That first arc, incredible. Excuse me. Whoa. Incredible first arc. So, you know what I mean? Promised Neverland is phenomenal. I adore Promised Neverland. But again, like when I say, you know, the best arcs for me in terms of One Piece, I mean, like Matt B, he talked about it in another stream. He was like, in the Weekly Shonen Jump stream, he was like, yo, Sabaody, the Sabaody arc, phenomenal. For me, Sabaody was wonderful. The combination of Water 7 and Enies Lobby. I mean, like if you separate those two arcs, and I had to pick one of those arcs, it's hard. If I had to separate those arcs, and I would choose Water 7 over Enies Lobby. That's what I'm saying. Sabaody was incredible. That's like an arc that's like fantastic. It just did something for One Piece that right, that it needed. It needed it. Like One Piece needed that Sabaody arc, because if it didn't have that, like or at the very to be more specific, it needed the Straw Hats to like deal with that, you know, to just be like, boom, get out of here. Y'all separated, figure some stuff out. I gotta go Water 7 over Enies Lobby. Water 7, though. Like, Enies Lobby is hype. The fights are hype. That clash, Rob Lucci versus Luffy. Come on now. We already know the hype. But all of the reveals, the twists, who in their right mind was like, yo, I know who CP9 is. Them carpenters, yo. You know what I mean? Them carpenters. Like, no. If you were like, yo, it's gotta be these dudes, I'm like, get out of here, man. Like, nah. Come on now. Like, no. You know? Saudi was fantastic. And but like I'm taking Water 7 over. I mean, like some people would count both together. If I'm counting them together, then to me that's the best arc. That arc is phenomenal. If I'm counting Water 7 and Enies Lobby as one arc, then yeah. But yo, oh yeah, that's Aoife. Aoife agrees with me. But like if we're separating it, I feel like Water 7 is stronger than Enies Lobby. That's how I feel about it. Some people will say, but Gear Second though, but this form though. I'm like, yo, but like the reveal of CP9, the reveal of the weapon of the fact that Iceberg had Pluton, Cutty Flam. Like, come on, yo. Usopp and versus Luffy. Usopp leaving the crew. This is too much. It's too Robin leaving the crew. There's too much in Water 7 that is just like, what is happening right now? It's too much. You know what I mean? There's so much. You know, in Water 7 that is like incredible. It's for me. Like it's just too good. And like Enies Lobby has some cool stuff too, like the Buster Call and everything like the backstory. Like there's a lot of stuff there too. There's a lot of stuff that's great there too. That I think is great. But Water 7 though. I don't know why, but I always like to see the Straw Hats, or I like to see my protagonists deal with stuff and struggle. I like to see them struggle. You know what I mean? I like to see my protagonist struggle. You know? Because you want to see how they'll get out of that. You want to see how they'll persevere. So for me, like I think I appreciate the struggle much more in some ways because I'm like, oh, I know something. Because it alerts me to the fact that maybe something wonderful is gonna come out of that. You know? Yeah, I mean, I feel like and that's the thing, right? Like Oda, like I think is very clear. I think he's been very clear about like saying like, hey, like these characters generally are gonna sort of be these characters. And they're going to have like, you know, they're kind of like they're gonna have their cliche like moments for them, you know, and to me it's like, okay, but these stories and their past and everything like that have to dictate how they make particular decisions, you know, like they should at some level, right? Like you don't want that to happen every time. You want them to be like, hey, like okay, my past is my past, and yes, that's like important and everything like that, but like gotta move on, you know? Right? But like I agree. I feel like Usopp could be better handled. I get it, but it's like, yo, like he should be doing more. We should be seeing more. And I think like what bothers me is like I don't want to see like I don't know. I just feel like if you know, like Usopp kind of had a glimpse of his observation hockey, but I want to see a bit more. I want to see like to deal with some things. But that's just me, right? Like I don't know if that's necessarily a fair criticism. But that's just me personally, what kind of like what I want to see from certain characters, particularly Usopp. Because I felt like Usopp was such a wonderful character pre time skip. Pre time skip, Usopp was phenomenal. You know, just like moment after moment, pulling through, doing particular things. You know, yeah, it's like when he's in that human form, he's just like the same size. You know, when he's like in just regular form, but when he transforms, he's clearly like grown. I thought that was I don't, so I don't mind that. And he's the same size because it's like, yo, if he got older, it would totally ruin the like Chopper merchandise scene, right? He's gonna be a kid the whole series, like the whole series. You know what I mean? That like the whole series, he's gonna look like that. All right. And notice how like they changed the hat up. You know, they changed the hat up a little bit. That made him a little bit taller in a way. You know, to say that, hey, Chopper's changed. Like, no, he changed his clothes, right? But I think Chopper's still dope. I like seeing his like different points. You know, like those are still dope. Like, so it shows that he has grown quite a bit in that sense. But I don't know. You know, for me, yeah, like the tiny form isn't a true form. It's just like one of his transformations, right? Like, so that's why for me it's like, okay, like he chooses to sort of stay in that form. And again, it's great for merchandise, great for merchandising. But who is a better doctor, Chopper or Law? Oh. Right now, I would go with hard. Right now, I'll go with Law. Chopper's phenomenal. You know what? It's hard because Law's had a lot of time to train as you know, in terms of medical histories and stuff like that. Right now, I'd say Law because his abilities help him as a doctor, right? Right? Like his fruit, like, come on now, Chopper can't do that stuff, right? But I also feel like, you know, like, but with Chopper, it's like maybe, right? It's like there's a lot of speculation. It's like maybe Chopper knows more about certain things than Law does, but I don't know because Law might have really studied his butt off, and like Doflamingo might have really gotten him, and his parents might have really gotten him like that info, that medical info, you know, with their access and stuff. So for me, right now it's Law. You know, I mean, I know that Chopper's trained a lot, but like, yeah. Oh yeah, if Chopper had the Ope no Mi, Chopper he washed Law as a doctor. He'd wash him. But for right now, I'm gonna go with Law. As a doctor, I go with Law. As someone that can like create like different combinations of medicines, if we're going with medicine strictly, then Chopper. To me, Chopper. You know, but if you're talking about an overall doctor, Law. That's how I feel about that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm in the stream and a couple more minutes. I'm in the stream. Yeah, I'm in the stream in a couple more minutes. Just because one, I do gotta feed the cats. I do have to. I gotta feed the cats. I do gotta get to bed at some point. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna hop into Brago's stream. I'll see. Depends on when he starts, you know, because I can't like go to sleep late because I do want to wake up on time, get some good rest. I gotta get back into the swing of like work and everything like that, and wake up early. And I gotta get back to that. You know, I can still do it because like for me, like waking up early is like it's cool. If I get to bed on time, waking up early is no problem. Because I love what I do. You know, so like doing the sub teaching, doing all that stuff, after school work, tutoring. Like I love what I do. So waking up in the morning is good because I know like I'm going out, I'm gonna make a difference, I'm gonna do these things. It's fun. It's fun for me, you know, and it's cool. It's fulfilling. So and you know, and YouTube and everything like that. So you know, life's good. Oh, the 9 to 2. Yeah. Wait, is Brago streaming right now? Is that what he's doing? Oh yeah, I'm going to sleep. I'm like, nah. I'm going to sleep. That's funny though, the joke chapters. Like I haven't read them at all. You know, but like it is funny that people would do that. I think that's like interesting. I don't know if anybody's ever done that with like other manga, like One Piece, like, but again, that's how popular One Piece is, right? Like, and I think that's how sort of polarizing this arc is in some ways, where they're like, here's all the like that the community is so split in certain ways that people will come out and make these like joke chapters because of that. I think on top of just, you know, wanting to make a joke chapter. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's just cool. Like, I mean, I love what I do. Again, you know, um, it's pretty dope. You know, it's pretty dope. Like for me, I just you know, you figure out how everything kind of comes together. You know, and for me, it was like, you know, like the thing, and this is one thing I want to end the stream here. At one point, um, before I say what I'm going to say, like, man, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to set up the event some point tomorrow morning before I stream. But basically, like, right, 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Okay. And the last thing I want to say is like, whatever it is that you are, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be honest with yourself about what it is that you want to do, and two, figuring out like and putting in the work to figure out how you're going to get there. Like you got to do that. You got to do that. For me, it was like I was in a doctoral program. I could have tried to stay in there and said, hey, let me go do this, da 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 da. Let me work through it. But it was like, yo, but if I want to be a teacher, and if I want to do this YouTube thing, and if I want to, you know, like, and if I want a different future, and I want to make sure that I can, you know, provide for my future children and my fiance and my future wife and my fiance and like stuff like that, you know what I mean, and help my parents stuff, like, nah, like it was like it didn't make any sense, you know. So once certain things shift and they change, and there's certain things you want to do, you gotta be quick about making a decision and say, okay, what do I need to do? What are the moves I gotta make? And then you just say, okay, like I gotta work on these things, I gotta work on that thing, and then you just do that. YouTube is great for me because it really sort of like, again, helped me really believe like, hey, like I can do things, I can set up things, I can plan things, I can make moves, I can move forward, I can move upward, you know, and I can do that gradually. And like people can do that, you know. So whenever I see people in the like, you know, hey, you know, what's some advice that you give in terms of that? I'm like, yo, that's my piece of advice. Just whatever it is you want to do, go for it. Like really, real talk, go for it. Find people that are in your corner. That's also huge. Find people that are in your corner that will support your decision to do certain things, and then just go. Then just go. You know, just go. And the grind is real. Yeah, the grind is real, yo. It is. But I think the difference is like when you're grinding and you're not doing what you're doing, it's like torture. When you're grinding and you are doing what you're doing, then it's not grinding, right? Then it's just you doing what you want to do, and it's great and it's fulfilling, and you're happy about it. And you might be like tired, like, but being tired from like, you know, like for me, like when I was tired and I was doing all that supermarket stuff, and I hadn't tutored yet, and I hadn't gone back to school. I was just exhausted, you know, very sort of low self-esteem. Didn't feel like I was like worth much to anybody in a relationship or anything like that necessarily, you know. Still living with my parents, you know, had no real prospects, and like that's different. That's just like sadness, depression, exhaustion, all those awful things. But then when you're really in what you want to do and you're going for it and you're doing it, it's like you're tired, but you're like, you go to sleep and you're like, yo, tomorrow's gonna be another good day. It's so different. You know, you wake up early. Like for me, like when I was like in my graduate program, like waking up was like incredibly hard. Like it was so hard. The depression was like crushing. And then you know, but once I made my decision, I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. Now we good. You know? And you have to. And once you've hit that place, you can do that. You should be able to like say, hey, I'm happy. I'm doing what I want to do. Like no one can come to you and say like, yo, why you keep talking about the stuff that you're happy about? Because you're happy. If you're happy and you want to talk about it, you talk about it, right? So you know, like some people might be like, you know, like so for me, like when you say like now you're popping up, it's like, yeah, man. I think a lot of us are doing things that we want to do, or at the very least working towards what we want to do, you know, or have an idea of where we want to be. And I think even if you just have that, if you have an idea of where you want to be, that's awesome. That to me is like fantastic, because then you can really start working towards that. If you don't have an idea what you want to do, then you're just kind of floating around, you know. But even that, right? That depends on age and stuff like that. So, you know, that's whatever. That's what I'm gonna end it, y'all. All right. Thank all y'all for coming through, y'all. All y'all are great, man. I'm gonna just shout out everybody that came through. Triple Kenshin, Professor Hitomi, Back to Birchill, Brago, salute. Richard the God, Shotty to your body. All right, that's funny. I'll say Shate. You know what I mean? Who else came through? Who else came through? Finn. I don't know if he was trolling or not. I'm not sure. I doubt it, but you never know. Shuganma, of course. Gotta shout out to Shuganma. All right. And I think that's everybody. Oh, Spider Shot MC, the last person in the stream. Spider Shot MC, the Heart 96. Let's go. All right. All y'all are phenomenal. All right. Seriously. Thank you all for coming through. Super dope combo. All right. I'm getting out of here because I gotta go to sleep. Thank you, Baxter. Yeah, this is not what it is. Like when I'm reading something, I'm reading I'm really interested in what I'm reading. Like I'm not gonna just read something like, oh, these people are reading this like really, really hype manga over here. Like I'm gonna read it only because of the type. I'm gonna read it because I'm gonna keep reading it because I'm genuinely interested. If I'm not interested, I'm not gonna keep reading. I'm out. All right, I'm a black manga critic, and I'm out.